Welcome to the movie Reactor. Today I will show you an action and thriller film from 1999 titled The Boondock Saints. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below to help advise me on how to make this channel more intriguing for your enjoyment. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. The beginning of this movie takes place during Mass in a Boston Catholic church, where Irish-American fraternal twins Connor and Murphy McManus pray and listen to a sermon that mentions Kitty Genovese, a real-life crime victim who was brutally killed while her neighbors stood by without doing anything. The brothers walk up to the altar and kiss a crucifix as the priest begins his homily. They leave as the priest cautions the congregation to be wary of the indifference of good men as well as the indifference of evil. With Connor saying, "I do believe the Monsignors finally got the point," and Murphy responding, "Aye," the brothers come to the conclusion that the priest has finally understood. Murphy and Connor are employed by a nearby meatpacking facility. 3 Russian soldiers, commanded by Ivan Chekhov, walk into a neighborhood bar where people are enjoying St. Patrick's Day and tell everyone to leave because their group has decided to evict the establishment. The mobsters are publicly humiliated during the ensuing bar fight by Connor, Murphy, and the other customers, who then ambush the brothers the next day in their home. Connor escapes to the roof and lowers a toilet, along with himself, upon the mobsters, killing them and saving Murphy, as Murphy is being led into a neighboring alley to be murdered. FBI agent Paul Smeckert is called to the murder investigation because of the Russian mob's participation, and he concludes that the mobsters' deaths were not the result of a planned hit but rather self-defense. Connor and Murphy show up at the police station to clear their names while the police start looking for the murderers. The brothers impress Smeckert during the initial interrogation by speaking in Gaelic, Russian, French, Spanish, Italian, and German in addition to recalling the details of the bar brawl and subsequent self-defense the next morning. Smeckert accepts their account and permits them to spend the night in a holding cell in order to avoid the media. That evening, God appears to Connor and Murphy and commands them to exterminate all evil in order for the good to triumph. The brothers decide to purge Boston of evil men with the aid of their friend and former mob package boy David the Funny Man Della Rocco. The brothers exchange the firearms and other items taken from the dead mob members for their own, and they find a meeting of Russian syndicate bosses at a nearby hotel using Connor's Russian language skills. The 8 underbosses were killed by the brothers when they crashed into the chamber through an air duct in the ceiling. The brothers compel the leader, Yuri Big Man Petrova, Viktor Petrochenko, to his knees and recite a brief prayer. "And shepherds we shall be, for thee, my Lord, for thee. Power hath descended forth from thy hand, that our feet may swiftly carry out thy command. So we shall flow a river forth to thee, and teeming with souls shall it ever be. In nomine Patris, et Filii, et Spiritus Sancti." The 2 then carry out his execution by shooting both of his eyes out and covering their sockets with coins. The brothers are startled to discover Rocco knocking on the door with a plate of food as they get ready to depart the hotel while he is disguised as a bellhop. With masks covering their faces, they drag him inside the hotel room after deciding to fuck with him and threaten to kill him. Rocco learns who they are eventually, and he chooses to assist the brothers in their objective. Agent Smeckert is put in the spotlight of the murder investigation once more. Smecker's view that the executions were the product of a quarrel between the Russian and Italian mobs is supported by the fact that the Russian mob was involved in every single killing. The following day, the brothers tried to persuade Rocco that Italian crime boss Papa Joe Iacovetta had sold him out because he had brought a 6-shooter to the hotel. Despite the fact that there were 9 Mafia in the hotel room, a .38 revolver. After shooting 2 of Iacovetta's men at a deli later, who gave Rocco an indication that he was actually sold out, Rocco quickly recognizes this. In vengeance, Rocco and the brothers track down Vincenzo Lipazzi, the Iacovetta criminal family's underboss, and kill him at a nearby strip club. 2 street criminals who had no affiliation with organized crime were also killed at the strip club, refuting Smecker's claim that there had been a mob battle. The 3 vigilantes continue their increasingly brutal missions to rid the city of violent criminals and other fugitives from the law. Papa Joe hires the reputed contract assassin Il Duce to deal with the spiteful package boy because he thinks that Rocco is responsible for the mob killings because he set him up to be killed. Rocco demands that he and the brothers kill a hitman he had previously collaborated with. Rocco claimed that the man had killed an entire family and burned their remains in a garbage. They make their way to the hitman's home and kill all of his men there. Using a cue ball, Rocco kills the hitman after a hand-to-hand struggle. The trio is attacked by Il Duce as they leave the hitman's residence through the front door, and during the ensuing gunfight, the trio succeeds in chasing Il Duce away. Each of the brothers sustains significant, but not fatal, bullet wounds that they cauterize with a hot iron after Rocco has his finger amputated. Smecker finds the finger at the crime scene hours later and stealthily steals it to use in his own investigation. Smecker starts to solve the puzzle of the different murders after learning that it belonged to Rocco, a man he had previously met. Smecker, a flamboyant homosexual, indulges in a drinking spree at a gay club before seeking guidance from a neighboring Catholic church since his sympathy for the brothers conflicts with his professional desire to bring them to justice. Smecker is unaware that Rocco, who has tracked Smecker to the church, is coercively directing the priest's responses to preserve the Boondock Saints' identities as he laments the futility of the courts that fail to punish evil men and his uncertainty with the McManus brothers' actions in a confessional. Connor drags Rocco's head through the other confessional at gunpoint after seeing him follow the priest inside. Outraged by the sacrilege, Rocco continues to hold his gun to the priest's head while speaking to Connor in hushed tones about the situation. The priest regretfully informs Smecker that the saints are representing God and that the laws of God are greater than the laws of man. Smecker makes the decision to assist the brothers after hearing the advice. When the McManus brothers and Rocco break into the Yacavetta headquarters to kill the family, Papa Joe and his goons, who had just come to defend Papa Joe from such an attack, catch them. In order to terrify the brothers, Papa Joe kills Rocco. While Smecker, posing as a female prostitute, diverts the attention of the other gangster, the brothers are able to free themselves and tend to Rocco. After Smecker kills the last remaining gangster, Illinois Duce knocks her out by mistaking her for a lady. Il Duce shows up and creeps up behind them while the brothers are praying for Rocco as a family. He lowers his firearms and joins them after hearing them say the family prayer and realizing that Rocco, the target of his hired assassination, is dead. The brothers had previously refused to teach Rocco the prayer because it is only passed down in their family, but now it is clear that Il Duce is their long-lost father. He then cooperates with them in their effort to purge the city of criminals. Even though there appears to be sufficient evidence to condemn Papa Joe 3 months later, the reporters there expect him to be found not guilty owing to his Gotti-like charisma. The two brothers and Il Duce break into the courtroom with the help of Agent Smecker and many police officers, forcing the interruption of the trial. The three then make a public declaration of their intention to vanquish evil and say their final prayer before shooting Papa Joe in the back of the head with 6 rounds, and a shotgun blast. The three are referred to as saints by the media, and the film concludes with a number of man-on-the-street interviews in which different Boston residents consider whether the saints are ultimately good or evil. Please consider subscribing. If you enjoyed the content, then please hit the like button as it helps the channel and is greatly appreciated. Also, if you know anyone who would enjoy watching this content, then please share and help this community grow. Thanks for watching.